The meeting is now live on YouTube.
Lovely. Thank you, Tracy, and good evening, everybody, and welcome. This is the Northampton Borough Council Cabinet meeting of the 3rd of March 2021. We'll get straight into the agenda. May I ask if we have any apologies for absence?
No apologies received, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item is our minutes of previous meeting, which was the 17th of February. Can I ask if any member has any corrections or amendments that they would like to propose? Can we otherwise confirm that those minutes are accepted?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you very much indeed. We have no intention to hold any part of this evening's meeting in private. And as far as I'm aware, we have no deputations, public addresses. I'll just double check, but I think that's still the case. Is that right?
Yeah, we have none.
Lovely. Thank you, Tracy. We also have no issues. Sorry, may I ask, first of all, any declarations of interest from any member of the Cabinet for any item that's on the agenda? No. Okay. And we have no issues arising from overview and scrutiny committee. So we'll jump to our first main report. This is with Phil, Councillor Larratt. It's corporate performance up to Q3. Phil, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, this is the quarterly performance report for Q3 from the 1st of October to the 31st of December. I think the report is generally very good considering the circumstances. Obviously, performance has been affected. People are working at home and having to do other work than their normal work as necessary due to various reasons, whether that might be, whether it's distributing government funding or work out on the streets dealing with issues, and plus the fact as well they're also dealing with all the work necessary for the transfer to unitary. So staff have done a really good job. I mean, there has been a drop in blues, greens and amber in the quarter over Q2. We're very much back to the performance that we were achieving in Q4 of the last year and Q1 of this year. So yes, we have dropped back on Q2, but we're no worse than we were in the previous 2 quarters to that. So I think, you know, overall 76.47 of our performance measures are either amber, green or blue, which is all very good. Unfortunately, there's 23% in the red, but I think you'll see that there's reasons for that as we look at the report. On paragraph 3.4, we have the table which highlights the performance indicators that are performing really well, above the level that they were going to achieve. So, and you know, some of those, I mean, Veolia have been very good in picking up on missed bins. I mean, that's something that is of real importance to our residents. So I'm pleased to see that happening. And similarly, they're addressing fly tips as well, which is really good as well. And considering the number of fly tips that we have had, you know, in the quarter, again, a really good good performance. And another one I'll just highlight is the temporary accommodation. You know, it's really good in that we've got fewer people in temporary accommodation. But overall, some good performance indicators there, Chair, which are pleasing. If you look at the next table, which is the unfortunately the red indicators, you will see that the number of missed bins in the period is in the red. Unfortunately, this is due basically to staffing issues which can only be expected in with Veolia, drivers being off sick, etc., and personnel being off sick has led to the cancellation of some rounds, and obviously that's impacted on performance. But nothing can be done about that. Unfortunately, it's the pandemic, and we've got to, I think they've dealt with it very well, but it has affected performance. Household waste recycled and composted. It is a time of year where there's not so much green waste, but hopefully those figures will improve in the next quarter when we see people return to gardening, and we'll have the recycling waste that's generated over the Christmas period reflected in the next quarter's statistics. Households being prevented from becoming homeless is a very difficult one, considering where we are with lockdown and everything. And there's a lot of issues around domestic abuse, unfortunately, and family and friends no longer willing to accommodate. So they're the main reasons for that. But very difficult circumstances and understandable. Again, pandemic, footfall in the town centre at very low levels, which is disappointing, but hopefully come not too long from now, things will start to improve. While the subject access request has slipped into the red, that was purely and simply because one of the requests fell out of time. Just one actual request fell out of time that prompted it to go into the red. So I don't think that's a major issue. Planning on very strangely has a number of minor applications determined within 8 weeks has dipped into the red for the first time ever since I've been dealing with performance. But I think that reflects the fact that there have been staff leaving, staff shortages and staff illness during the quarter, and I think that's purely a reflection of that. But it's very unusual for planning to be in that position. I think overall, Chair, I think while there are a few reds there and 25% red, sorry, 23% red, I think we can only but congratulate our staff on achieving the fact that 76.4% of our performance indicators are either blue, green or amber. So, they've certainly in very difficult circumstances maintained good performance, and I think they're only to be congratulated for that. There is the appendix to the report, Chair, very detailed report, and you will see that there are explanations against each performance indicator as to the high, low or indifferent performance, and some very useful information there to explain them. And I'm happy, Chair, to answer any questions that any member may have. Other than that, I'll just like to note.
Phil, you've muted yourself, mate.
I don't know how I did that, but never mind. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that members may have on the detailed appendix, against which there are some very good explanations as to the success or otherwise of the performance indicators. And in doing so, I'll just draw the Cabinet's attention to the recommendation at section 2 of the report and ask that it be accepted and noted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. That's great, Phil. A very thorough explanation. This is a report that covers, once again, a most peculiar time, really, in operating with the council, given the pandemic and so on. But let's throw it open to see if anybody has any issues they would like to raise, any comments they would like to make, perhaps about some of their own service areas, or alternatively, any questions that they would like to ask of Phil. Can't see any hands, electronic or otherwise. I'm using my phone, which is quite limited, but is there anybody?
Nobody's indicating.
Thank you, Tracy. That was really helpful, actually. Thank you very much. Okay, well, in which case, as Phil already has done, let me direct your attention, if I may, please, to the recommendations at section 2. Can I ask you to confirm, though, your agreement to those recommendations, please? Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Great.
That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Takes us on to report, which is with Brandon, which is finance monitoring to 31st of January 2021. Brandon, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
sorry about the background noise. The washing machine's going, so it's luckily Phil kept it going so the spin could get done before we go on to the last part of the washing bit. So yeah, I'll just try to switch it off, but it won't go off. So I'll crack on with my report, Chair. As you said, this is the finance monitoring report at the end of January. I'll just go through a few other things before we hit the key part of the report, which is on 3.3. Since in the last 12 months, we've been really busy on the financial side of things. You know, with CTRS, we've actually helped out 12,400 households, giving up to 1.8 million away to make sure that they've got a little bit more ease and a bit more comfort at home. So each household's had £150 each. That's additional on top of what we already earmarked for the financial year. The grants scheme we've given, by the end of March, would have given away about £50 million. So the team have actually been working really hard to get all this money out to everybody that needs it. This is on top of our normal budget, which is normally around about 40 million. So, and then on top of that, the business rate relief has hit £34 million mark. So, you know, overall, we've over 180 million pounds this year in finances, which is a massive stretch for the team. I mean, it's difficult enough as it is with the normal budget, let alone doing everything else on top. So full credit to the team for everything they've done, Chair, over the last 11, 12 months. You know, it's been a massive team effort from not just the finance, but every other department as well. So all the other heads and directors and especially the chief exec needs a lot of praise on this to making sure that the business continues as it was. So going to the report, Chair, as you can see in 3.3, we've got a slight underspend this year of 278,000, which is a great achievement considering all the difficulties we've had this year and the extra procedures I've had to put in place. Obviously, the help from the government has been a massive boost for us to make sure we can keep within our budget, which we planned for last year, for this financial year. So it's been a great help. But also with the COVID money we've had, I'm asking the Cabinet to agree this evening to two separate grants that I'd like to help out with the parish councils, because they're the third tier of government in our town, and they're the ones that don't seem to get all the help, but they're the ones that are taking a lot of the questions and quizzes for us from the residents to make sure that things are running smoothly in our local areas, especially in the parish areas. So on the first part, Chair, I'd like to put forward a grant to the current parish councils, totaling £98,870.50, which is demonstrated in Appendix 1 at the back of the paper. This is, like I said, for the current ones, but also to help the town council and the two new parish councils that are being set up in the Northampton Town, Farquhar and Delapre and Kingsthorpe, to actually help them with the start-up costs as well, which unfortunately we haven't been able to generate a lot of the money due to COVID. So we would like to, I'm offering this evening to the Cabinet to accept the proposal that we give them £99,995 towards their costs and hopefully get them on the right foot to make sure they're as successful as the other parish councils are in the borough. So I'm putting these proposals this evening, Chair. Hopefully everybody will approve the points. The recommendation is 2.1 to 2.4, and hopefully this will go a bit of a way to helping out the current and the new parish councils. Excellent. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much indeed. That was very thorough. Does anybody have any queries or any points that they would like to raise regarding this item?
Nobody's indicating, Chair.
Thanks, Tracy. I'll join you, Brandon, once again in thanking, specifically on the point you mentioned, the finance team, with that huge amount of money that in one way or another has gone out in different forms of grants. What a significant additional workload that has been, but thank goodness so many people have been able to benefit from that support, much of which has come through from government that we've then distributed. So once again, a big thank you to them, and as we have before, to all officers who have either perhaps played a part in keeping the finances straight in the most difficult times in their own departments, or indeed for the extra efforts they've had to put in over the last few months. I think if there are no further comments, then if I may, I'll draw your attention back to the recommendations at section 2. And can I just ask you please to confirm your agreement to those recommendations? Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Takes us on to our last report, which is with Mike, Councillor Hallam. This is the proposed variation to the Borough Council Public Spaces Protection Order, specifically regarding Upton. Mike, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. We've talked a bit tonight about the impact of the pandemic and the lockdowns, and obviously one of the very few positives out of this tragic period is that we've all got out and about more and enjoyed. We've been experiencing record numbers for our parks and open spaces. The phrase that we've come up with is kind of summer levels of footfall in the winter. So lots of people have been getting out and about there. This is a result of a consultation that we undertook regarding Upton Country Park, and a piece of work that we've done. We've had a number of incidents of dogs off the lead there, and a small minority, I think, of people not abiding by the rules and having their dogs on lead. And unfortunately, it's led to a couple of incidents, one particularly not very pleasant one, with sheep being attacked that are over there. So it's important that we address that and we work on that moving forwards. And this brings that work to a conclusion. We consulted with all of the neighbouring parish councils, and the upshot of that is that we should extend that area and then have some of our park rangers and neighbourhood wardens enforce those new restrictions in Upton Country Park, which hopefully will make it an even more enjoyable visit for the record number of visitors that are going there at the moment. Happy to present the report.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. As you say, it is a rotten shame. So many people enjoy that area with their dog, keep it on a lead, or at least, the very least, keep it under control. But I know how savage some of these attacks on animals have been. They really have been horrible, haven't they? So I think most people would agree that this is absolutely the right thing to do. Anybody any comments or any questions they'd like to raise with Mike on this report?
Councillor Hibbert's indicating.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Stephen, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. I welcome the report and entirely accept that the consultation has shown that the public are behind this proposal. But I've also picked out from the consultation there's quite a sizable number of people who actually think dogs should be on the lead all the time. And I think at some point in the future, we're going to have to look at this from the other end of the stick and determine what areas dogs can run free in, rather than what areas dogs have to be on a lead.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Mike, did you want to make a comment at this stage, or just accept that as an observation?
Yeah, no, I accept it as an observation, and there's always going to be different sides to the discussion on this. And really, what we're talking about is responsible dog ownership, isn't it? And the vast majority that I see out and about, the vast majority of people are really, really responsible. My young daughter's not a particular fan of seeing a dog coming running up to her, and most people say, "Oh, sorry," you know, and we sort of, she normally reacts in quite a negative way. So. Depends who you ask, I think, but something to work on in the future.
Okay, thanks, Mike. That's great. Anybody else any comments or questions of Mike? No? Okay, thank you. In which case, once again, direct your attention to the recommendations at section 2. Just ask you to confirm your agreement to those recommendations, please. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. That's tremendous. That was our last item. So that concludes our Cabinet meeting, 3rd of March 2021, the day we discovered we'd been awarded 25 million from the Towns Fund. What a splendid day that's been. Congratulations to all involved in that wonderful effort. Can't tell you the excitement that's generated. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance this evening, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.